Yes, ma'am. I welcome you all to the third day of the 1 month National Online Gender Sensitization and Capacity Building Program on Gender, Society, Economy and the Polity. It's my privilege to invite Dr. N. Manimekalai to welcome the gathering. Ma'am?
Yeah, thank you,
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Neela. And I'll just share some words about the resource person, today's resource person, Masbaudi, and leave, and the formal procedure will proceed. Okay. We have today an important topic and also an important resource person. I welcome all of you on behalf of the departments and organizing departments and also the resource person. My colleagues will be doing a formal welcome and introduction. But this topic is really an important topic, and I think only here in Tamil Nadu we have succeeded in integrating life skills with gender, and particularly in Bharathidasan University. And thanks to Ms. Padmavati and also late Mr. Jnani, who have contributed to this department very much, and also we have learned a lot from both of them. So they actually, as far as the resource person is concerned, she doesn't just talk gender, she practices, and she says that it is her conviction. And so people simply working in order to contribute something, or because it is their profession, that is a kind of an attitude, but it is not with Padma. And so we have invented, I should say, how to integrate this life skills with gender. And only when you understand and practice life skills, gender would be easy to reach. That gender equality is easy to reach. That is why, because it is closely connected. When there is inequality in the society, that is because of lack of life skills, and they are closely intertwined, and we need to understand. And everyone here in, they're all mostly from women studies and also other disciplines, and you have to necessarily internalize yourself to the life skills, the 10 life skills she will be explaining, and also how it has to be integrated with gender. Therefore reaching gender equality would be facilitated, and that would be very close to it will be reachable distance. So with this few words, I am happy that Ms. Padmavati is here today, a long close friend of mine, and we have been closely working particularly on gender issues with various institutions. And she has introduced to many institutions, and of course UNICEF, she has been contributing, and to various other field. And the very important contribution which she has been silently doing is working with adolescent girls. And it is not simply working with them, bringing out the experiences working with those adolescent girls in the schools or out of schools are being brought out into training modules, books, etc. And they have been publishing constantly. And thanks to our here we have SRP school, where the principal Tulasidasan has been very much instrumental in bringing the publications out. So that is one of the important areas in which she has been working. And a freelancer by profession. Earlier, she was a journalist and writer, and all those aspects will be introduced by Dr. Murugeshwari. So since I have to join another webinar at the same time, I am leaving now. I will come back, and definitely I think I will have some space to conclude after this 3:30 or 3:35. I'll join. Thank you. Welcome you all. Thanks to Ms. Padmavati for bearing with me.
Thank you so much, Manimekali. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for the
Thank
nice
you. Thank
introduction.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. May I now invite Dr. N. Murugeshwari, Professor of Women's Studies, Bharathidasan University, to introduce today's resource person, Padmavati Madam, to the participants.
Very good afternoon to all. It is a great pleasure to welcome Madam Padmavati and introduce about her. Madam Padmavati is a writer, journalist, a video filmmaker, gender sensitizer, more than that, a life skills trainer. She worked as a joint director in Tamil Nadu State AIDS Control Society during 2005 to 2008. She is the M-Panel Director with Ministry of Labour for making educational films. And she was acting as a freelance consultant and a master trainer on gender and life skills to various organizations like State Resource Center, Social Defense Department, Tamil Nadu State AIDS Control Society, Puduvalvu Thittam, Corporation for Women Development, UNICEF, Education Department, Bharathidasan University, MS Swaminathan Research Foundation, the National Institute for Youth Development, etc. Consultant for UNICEF in the Red Ribbon Express project and a coordinated statewide education program, life skills education, and out of school youth program. And he was working in the implemented a project in juvenile homes on prevention from HIV/AIDS. She was the master trainer on adolescent sexuality for SCERT, education workers, college lecturers, and the Red Ribbon Club field officers. She has done extensive work on health, hygiene, and sanitation. She wrote a regular column in Tamil Hindu in Sunday Supplement on the topic of Pen Indru for 52 weeks in the year 2018 to 19. She has published a book on women empowerment, gender concerns, and life skills education, specially designed for children in semi-fictional format. Video film on breastfeeding needs for women was screened by Padmavati in the Perth International Film Festival in 1990 at Trivandrum. She directed the film on universal walk precaution while operating upon HIV-positive mothers. The film won an award from the Public Relations Society of India. Further, she directed a film on human rights of the community, HIV-positive genders, etc. Now she is doing a film on decriminalization of sex workers. So we feel very happy, ma'am, to welcome you to give an address on the topic of vaccines to prevent gender stereotypes. So we feel very happy once again on behalf of the participants, Padmavati Studies, Bharathidasan University, Kaveri College for Women, and ROS. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, ma. Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. You are audible, ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. So can I start my session?
Yes,
Can I
ma'am.
start my session? Yeah, okay. Anything else? Can I start?
You can start, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much for the Bharathidasan University for this opportunity. My topic is, if I'm going fast, please tell me, I'll slow down. And if my audio is also problematic, tell me. Once I tell you, Neela, you can start playing the PowerPoint.
Yes,
Once I'll
ma'am.
tell
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
My topic is life skills to combat gender stereotyping. Personally, I would like to share something before starting my PowerPoint presentation. First, as usual, like any woman, once you get sensitized on women's issues, you try to become a feminist and you try to fight at home, you try to fight in other places. But knowing gender is really helpful. At the same time, after I got into life skills program, I thought combining life skills and gender would be much better, because gender gives me knowledge about my stereotyping, about the problems women face, everything. But where is the power, or where is a tool for women to combat that is, I thought life skills would be very useful. So my session will be 3 parts. One is I'll be introducing life skills first. Then I'll be introducing gender a little bit, because I don't have to go much into gender. I'll introduce 4 or 5 slides gender, and then I'll go deeply into life skills, and then I'll combine life skills and gender, and you can have questions in the end. So Neela, you can start the PowerPoint.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So first slide talks about sex and gender. So we all know sex describes whether someone is a male or a female according to the biological differences. It is determined before we are born. We come out of the mother's womb, even if it is decided. But gender refers to those characteristics of males and females that are shaped by social forces. It is socially and culturally constructed, giving social meaning to biological differences. Because if somebody is born as a male or born as a female, according to their biology, they maybe transgenders are there. That's I'm not going to dwell on it. But the thing is that they remain male or female wherever they are in the world. But once the gender is ascribed to you, if you are in a village area, your gender role is different. When you go to a city, it is different. When you live in a tribal area, it is different. So gendering process really changes place to place. Your roles really changes. People who are now studying in schools and colleges, when they get a job outside India or outside their hometown, totally their dressing pattern, their speeches, everything differs. So this gendering is not a constant process. It keeps on changing. That's what I wanted to share. Next slide. Every society has its own ideas of gender roles, how girls and boys, men and women should behave. This affect our beliefs, actions, and our own self. So this is very important. Gendering process really, it is internalized. It is internalized. At one point, it becomes our beliefs. We started believing that women are lesser than male. We started believing it, and we start act accordingly. But most people are not aware of the effect of gender on their lives because the process of construction, articulation, and transmission of prescribed gender roles starts right from the birth of the child and continues to be an integral part of the socialization of children into adulthood. So it starts from the childhood and it goes on till your death. Throughout their childhood, boys and girls receive different messages about their behaviors that are expected of them. And when a 10-year-old girl comes very fast, running very fast, people say, no, you're a girl, you should walk softly. When a 10-year-old boy cries, immediately they say, oh, you're a boy, don't cry like a woman. So these are each and every day, through our families, through our media, through school, everywhere you are always reminded, you are a boy, be like this. You are a girl, be like this. These messages are communicated to them by parents, society, peers, and the mass media. The message communicates that certain behaviors are acceptable for boys, but not for girls, and vice versa. Next. In almost all societies, men and women are assigned different roles. They do not perform equal roles or hold equal positions of power in any society. Males are valued higher than females. While males are regarded as stronger sex, females are termed as fair sex and considered weaker. Actually, now this concept of third gender, I don't understand what is the meaning of third gender. Then which is the first gender and which is the second gender? Do they mean to say first gender is male and second is female and third is transgender? We have to start questioning this. Men are characterized as principal wage earners, heads of the household, and holders of the leadership roles in the community. Women are expected to maintain the homes, being ideal mothers, wives, and sisters by sacrificing their interests for their sons, husbands, brothers, and other male members of the family. So this is what is happening with us now. Though we have so many women's studies department, gender studies department, still the roles ascribed to a male and a female remains largely the same. Maybe individuals come out of these clutches and become empowered, but largely, I must say, it is continuing. So, what do we have to do now? We have to understand Unless we understand the gendering process, we cannot break it. So understanding and breaking this myth with the life skills, that's our next step. So before going to life skills, I really want to dwell some time about skills. What are skills? Skills are the learned capacity which helps us to do a task effectively. So you can't, if you drive a cycle, you don't mean to be a skilled driver. You can drive a cycle. You can drive a bike. You can drive a car. You can ride. But how do you become skillful is more and more practice and patience through these skills can be improved if you could identify, analyze, and practice them can be improved. And what are the different skills that are there? Literary skills, reading, writing, and numerical skills, language skills. Why I'm going to this, there is a lot of confusion between soft skills and life skills. So before going to life skills, I really want to talk about the other general skills and go to life skills. Language skills, using language in writing and speech. Functional skills for fulfilling day-to-day or household activity like combing the hair, everything, taking bath, everything, because you have to function as a person, it is functional skill. Livelihood skills relate to income generation. Cultural skills, singing, dancing, dramatics, artistic, being artistic. Sports skills, racing, jumping, boxing, and jogging. Recreational skills, games, play, music, movies, outdoor activity. Employability skill. So when it comes to employability skill, we need, apart from your technical skill, we have to have communication skills, you have to have teamwork skills, problem solving skill, planning and organizing skills, self-management skills. So how do we, maybe we can attain your technical skill through our education, but how do you attain communication, teamwork, or problem solving? It is through life skills. So what are life skills? And what is the difference between a regular skill and a life skill? Skills are mostly psychomotor in nature, but life skills are psychosocial in nature. Life skills are interpersonal skills, empowering individuals to interact with the self as well as others. It is not only that we are interacting with others, it is internal also. You talk to yourself also. That is self-awareness. So this intrapersonal skill, whereas and interpersonal skills also. A combination of life skills and livelihood skills, psychosocial and psychomotor skills, helps in competency building and maximizing the potentials of every individual. So how does UNICEF define life skills? It defines life skills as a behavior change or behavior development approach designed to address a balance of three areas: knowledge, attitude, and skills. Remember earlier I told you about gender. So when I am aware of my gendering process, it is only a knowledge. Maybe it gives a kind of, it builds up my attitude towards gender issues also. But I need skills to practice my gender knowledge. So life skills are essentially those abilities that help us to promote physical, mental, and emotional well-being and competencies to face the realities of life. Life skills can be, it can be developed through our practice. What are the 10 core life skills? Actually, life skills, though I'm not going to go into the history of how does life skills came, but it came with the health aspect. Like HIV/AIDS field, people thought instead of really taking care of the infected and affected people, it is better to prevent HIV/AIDS. So how do you prevent? Because HIV/AIDS is also related to your behavior. I'm not saying unsafe sex also. It is also using drugs. It's also using exchanging syringe, everything. So it is related to behavior. So when a problem, illness is related to, like our corona, people say certain precautions can help you prevent getting infected with corona. So like that, to before getting infected, prevention is better. So this World Health Organization came out with this core 10 life skill so that it helps you in preventing getting into a kind of a dangerous behaviors. Like these are the 10 core life skills: self-awareness, empathy. The beauty is these skills are interwoven. Self-awareness and empathy is interwoven. Self-awareness is knowing ourselves. Empathy is trying to place ourselves in others' shoes. Similarly, effective communication and interpersonal relationship. Critical thinking and creative thinking. Decision making and problem solving. Coping with emotion and coping with stress. We can categorize these 10 core life skills into 3 areas: social skills and negotiation skills, self-awareness and empathy, effective communication, interpersonal relationship. What are the thinking skills? Critical and creative, problem solving and decision making. Coping skills are coping with stress and coping with emotions. I'll just give you actually we do this life skills program totally for 5 days. Here I am trying to introduce you for in 30 minutes time about these core life skills. So it's only an introduction. If you are really interested in getting to know more about life skills and practice more about life skills, you have to, this is only, and see it as an introduction. So self-awareness includes recognition of ourselves, our character, our values, our strength, our weakness, our desire, our likes, our dislikes. It is like stock taking. When you go to a office, when you are asked to stock take everything, you write how many pen are there, how many pencil, table, chair, like that. You try to internally look at yourself and then trying to make a note of it. It is not that, I am bad tempered, I get angry very easily. Self-awareness doesn't stop with that. Once you know that you get angry very easily, how are you going to solve that issue? So self-awareness is first, understanding yourself. And then second part, there are 3 parts, like how am I in my character, my likes, my dislikes. Second part, what I would like to become. Like they'll be like, I want to be a very cool-headed person. I don't want to get angry. I want to have good habits, everything. That is our desire. So once we start having this desire, after some point, we come to a conclusion that we have attained that. Oh, I am good now. We have to go for walking. That we have to do daily. Maybe in a week we will do 2 days, and then we'll say, oh, I'm going walking for every day. Oh, it is not that. Unless you do it all the 7 days, all the 365 days, it is not that. You want to be regular in walking. Your desire is that, but you have not entered it. So how do you check with this? I am this. I want to become this. In between, how do you check whether you have become it? It is not only from your point of view. When you ask 10 people out of 10 people, if 8 people say, she'll get angry very easily, then it doesn't mean that you have really attained that question. You desire to become a person who should not get angry very easily. But now you are here as a person who gets angry very easily. So there are 3 stages: what you are, what you want to be, what you desire to be. That what you want, what is your desire to be, but how you are now, are you in the process? So this is about self-awareness. The self-awareness through Jogani window and then SWOT analysis, you can really deeply go into it. You can do SWOT analysis, what are your strengths and weaknesses and what is your opportunities that you all know as academician. Which is, you have to also know which is internal, which is external. You can't have an external force saying that it is an internal problem. And internal problem, you can't put the blame on the external situation. So you have to be, you can use SWOT analysis as well as a Jogani window, whether you are an open person or you are not an open person, you can use that. I'm not going deep into it because there is lack of time. And second skill is empathy. Empathy is the ability to be sensitive to another person's situation. Sympathy is different from empathy. We are all sure, I'm sure, sympathetic towards others. But empathy requires a kind of action. Sympathy is only a feeling for the other person. Empathy requires a little bit of it. Action means not that you have to really go deep into that. Empathy is okay, fine. There is a kind of a small action oriented in it. Sympathy is just for a moment you feel sorry for the person and then go away from the situation. That doesn't really help. Empathy is a much more difficult quality to inculcate. Effective communication. It's the ability to express both verbally and non-verbally. Actually, the problem with adolescent girls in any relationship, they are not able to say no firmly. That's a problem. We have not told the children how to communicate effectively. We have always said that elders have to give respect. Respect is different from being assertive. You have to talk anytime when you're talking to people, you have to look into their eyes. We don't teach all these things. We always teach a kind of a be like this, be submissive, be quiet, everything to, especially to women. They are not able to question themselves as well as, because in the gendering process, they also believe that, okay, I am lesser than a male. I have to obey my parents. I have to obey my elders. I have to, whatever happens to me, I can't open my mouth openly because it's going to bring shame to my family, my society. It is not that. We have to be assertive. So we have to teach young girls to say no, firm no, assertive no. And then interpersonal relationship. It also helps us to relate with the people in a positive way. We all need relationship. People can't be without any relationship. We need relationship. At the same time, there should be any power imbalance inside a relationship. There should be always a power balance in any relationship. If there is a power imbalance, there is exploitation. Then only we need the word empowerment of women. Why do we need the word empowerment of women? Because there is power imbalance. So there should be power balance in any relationship. If there is exploitation in any relationship, we have to really understand it, and you can't put the blame on the others. Like they exploited me. You yourself gave in to be exploited. Unless you're sure about yourself, you are sure about your power relationships, you can't really handle this issue. Okay, critical thinking. Critical thinking is the ability to analyze information and experience in an objective manner. That's very important. When you say critical thinking and creative thinking, what happens? We always tell youngsters, do what I say. We don't explain things to them. We don't tell them the consequences. Even if an adolescent girl is falling in love, to simply say, don't do that. It's a bad quality. It's a bad habit. Don't do that. She will continue to do it without your knowledge. But we have to tell her what are the consequences of it. So we have to provide information. So always when people are able to take informed choices, they are able to make good decisions. But without any information, even if it is education or any exploitation, unless we provide them with the right information, they can't make an informed choice. Creative thinking enables us to explore the available alternatives and various consequences for a given situation in unique and different way. Actually, creative thinking and critical thinking, though they appear to be same, it is a different. Creative thinking is out of the box thinking. There are a lot of exercise for this. I'm sorry I'm not able to give you this kind of a webinar. I'll give you my email ID. After this program, anybody wants to talk to me, they can talk to me. I can give my phone number also. So creative thinking, really out of the box kind of thinking. You don't think in a regular manner. Out of the box, you go and then, okay, fine. Oh, there is an alternative to this kind of a thinking. And critical thinking, there are already certain clear-cut solutions for a given situation. So you apply that. And sometimes you also go out of the way, out of the box thinking, and then you do solve the problem. Problem solving. It enables us to deal constructively with problems that arise in our day-to-day life. Problem solving and decision making are twin qualities. Unless you decide to solve your problem, you cannot solve your problem. What happens most of the time? What do you say? I have this problem, I have this problem. No, we have not taken a decision to solve it. So when you want to solve a problem, there is a concept called power. P-O-W-E-R. You put it one under wonder. P is understanding your problem, and O, there are different options for your problem, and W is you try to weigh each and every option. Oh, will this work out or will that work out? So you weigh the option, and then E is enact, and R, it does not result. Once you do, you identify your problem, you take different options, you weigh the options and you implement it, and then try to review the whole process. When you review the whole process, next time when you really want to approach a problem, you have learned a lesson from your previous problems. So that is, reviewing is very important. And then coping skills. Coping with emotions. It involves recognizing emotions within us and others, recognizing how the emotions affect our behavior and how best can we respond appropriately. The problem with coping with emotions is most of the time we think that others are responsible for our emotion. Like they made me angry, they irritated me, they made me cry. No, it is not that. Without your permission, nobody can do it to you. They want to provoke you, they want to trigger your emotion. You are becoming gullible to it. You are giving way to it. If I say, okay, if somebody irritating me, I am not going to get irritated. They cannot use that tactics with you. So you first in emotion, we have to understand that it is emerging from us. Nobody is responsible for it. It is emerging from. It is maybe external forces there, but think, for example, you are all maybe college lecturer, college students. In a classroom, there are 40 people. Lecturer is taking class. In all the 40 people have the same emotion or different emotion. Certainly they have different emotion. Somebody must be thinking about lunch, somebody must be appreciating the class, somebody must be thinking this is boring. So everybody has their own emotion, and we are responsible for our emotion. Nobody else is responsible for our emotion, we are. So first we have to accept the fact that our emotions emerge from us. Second, emotion is, we cannot control our emotion. We should not control our emotion. We should try to handle our emotion. What is handling our emotion? Handling is not immediately finding a solution. Handling is, first you try to be away from that emotion. If I am very angry or if I am very sad, I have to know that I am sad. I cannot again dwell in the same emotion. I have to come out of that emotion. Coming out, maybe you can listen to your music, you can go for a walk, you can play with the child. Just keep yourself away from that emotion for some time. And then when you are very rational, try to solve that problem. Don't try to solve any problem when you are emotional. In most of the cases when women are getting attacked by male, whether verbally or anything, first thing, because they are not used to such a situation, they're emotionally charged up. They cannot think rationally. They are not able to think rationally. So they give in way to the problem. But there are certain people who are taught right from the childhood, saying no or countering somebody. Why are you looking at me with the assertive face when you are asking? Some people will go away. Maybe some people are more than arrogant or more, they think they have more maleness to counter us. But certain people with this assertive look and assertive voice, you can say, okay, go away, I don't like this. But we have not taught our girls this. We have taught our girls all the time, emotion, control your emotion. You should not feel this way, you should not feel that way. You are a girl, you have to be like this. So If you are able to handle our emotion, we can handle our stress. Because your emotions mounts up, and it becomes a stress at one point. So if you are able to handle your emotion, you can always handle your stress also. So enhancing life skills enables us to adapt to situations and people and helps us to lead a healthy and positive life. This is about life skills. Now we are going to combine life skills and gender stereotyping. I hope Manamekale ma'am showed you these cards yesterday. Anybody is answering? Can I hear anybody? Neela?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, did Manamekale ma'am show these cards yesterday?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I prepared this card. I use this in. I have done a program with self-help group women in for Tamil Nadu government in 22 districts on gender and life skills. So I developed these cards during that time because when you start talking about gender only as a theory, it doesn't really help. So this, after playing this card game, it has really helped me. People immediately will understand. Even during lunchtime and other time, they'll say, "Ma'am, that is gender, ma'am. Why we have to wash our plates and our male's plates? It's gender, ma'am." So they immediately they are able to connect it to that. So you can see the card, girls. Wantedly, I have given the roles. I have altered the roles. So male, female driving a tractor, male washing the vessels, and female climbing the tree, all this. And after a point, people have understood it's all because of gendering process. Because only breast milking and giving birth to a child can be done only by women because she has an organ, physical organ. Biologically, she can only do that. But the other things, I have to reduce my mobile volume. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. You have to reduce your mobile volume.
Okay, now is it all right? Now is it all right?
Yes, ma'am.
Neela, now is it all right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. I saw your message only now. Anyway, after the point when we ask whether they have seen any male making dosas, any male sweeping the floor, they'll say, maybe I have seen my father doing this, my brother doing this, I have seen males doing it in shops, all that. So we come to the conclusion that only these two roles, giving birth and breast milk, can be done by women. Otherwise, all the roles can be done by anybody. It's all in the gendering process. So we make this very clear to them. And then, how do we link self-awareness and life skills and gender? So self-awareness is questioning the gendering process internally and externally. So each and every woman have to question yourself, why am I asked to do this? Is it because I am a woman? Because all the time we hear this, you are a woman, you have to do this. So this internally as well as externally, what happens? There are a lot of, I can give you a lot of examples. As a journalist, when I was working as a journalist, there was an interview with a judge, women judge. They have asked regular questions. And the last question was whether you know cooking. What should be the answer? If she says that she doesn't know cooking, then people will say, oh, she thinks she is too much as a woman, she doesn't know even cooking. She thinks only career is her thing, all that. So if she says yes, then there will be a photograph of her trying to cook, standing near the gas stove. Imagine a situation, there is a male judge. When you ask the male judge, are you able to spend time with your family? If he says yes, oh, in spite of all this, he's able to find time to spend time with the family. If he says no, oh, he's such a busy person, he's so concerned about the society, he's not able to have time to spend time with the family. So this is the kind of, you know this gas stove, stove bursting cases. During this, some 15 years back, all the time in paper it will come. because the stove burst, the woman died. I don't know whether the stove does not really burst when a male really try to do any cooking. And there was once one story, one male really died because of the stove bursted. And in that story, there is a line, the woman has gone to the cinema, his wife has gone to the cinema, so he was trying to make a tea. Having tea is, he wants to have tea, he wants to have tea. So he can make the tea. But why should that line be there that because she is not there, because it is her duty to make the tea, because she has gone to the cinema, he made the tea, they need it. So these are, as a journalist, I can quote you like before coming to this, I don't know, people are across the country, they are there, but rape, earlier we used to call karpalippi in Tamil, now we use the word paliyal balatkar, sexual abuse. To arrive at this from karpalippi to paliyal balatkar, it really took 20-25 years to change the attitude of the media people. So this gendering process, it is not only there externally, it is internally is also there. And internally you are really strongly believe something, unless you question it, you cannot really challenge it. You cannot really challenge it unless you think, oh, this is wrong. Something is wrong in this whole idea. When I take classes for all these school teachers and college teachers, I ask this standard question. How many of you watch your male members' plates at home? Most of the teachers will say, ma'am, what a question is this? In every house, all of us wash. So, but it is not about washing the plate. Male may think, the male participants or male may think that I'm trying to question their role. It is not that. Washing your plate, watching everybody's plate is there. Once you eat, have your food, you have to watch your plate. But the society has made that certain work has to be done by a woman, certain work has to be done by a male. But it has changed. Earlier, male used to go out and earn the bread for the family. Now, women are also doing. We know that 65% of the unorganized sector people, they are the breadwinners in their family. But even then, the role in the family as a woman, whatever role she has to do, she was doing it earlier, she has to continue to do. So only we call it double burden or triple burden. So once you have to question it, means you have to really understand, yeah, I am being exploited in this. Unless she sees it as an exploitation, she cannot really empower herself. So once I was taking this class for the self-help group woman, one of the women in the feedback section after 1 month, she said, like earlier I used to, whenever my son used to break his slate, I used to buy a new slate for him. Once I told him, no, I'm not buying a new slate. Then he really used the cellophane tape to paste it in the other side, and he used it. So then I knew that once I am assertive, I can handle the situation. So you have to become assertive. Unless you become assertive, you cannot handle the situation. So empathy is towards other women and men. You have to understand. One thing is that in the gendering, like earlier, before 1990s, we used to talk only about women's empowerment. When we started using the word, am I audible, Neela? Neela?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Where did I leave? Sorry. You have to understand that we cannot blame an individual male or a female for whatever they are now. Why men are like this, why women are like this, it's because of our parenting, because of our gendering process. So you cannot ask a 20-year-old boy why is being sexually very aggressive. He has been taught that way. It is in fact that has created vulnerability for a male. You can do whatever you want means it creates a vulnerability for a person. It is not a power, it is a vulnerability. So we have to understand, we have to empathize with our men folk and tell them, look how I feel as a woman. So we have to tell them, this is my feeling. You cannot treat me like this because you are a male, I am a female, you are more powered than me. You cannot think that way. This is my emotion. So we have to empathize with them. At the same time, we have to be assertive, but try to understand that males are like this mostly because of the parenting process. And then communicating assertively is, when you want to say really no, say no. You can't say, oh, I don't like this kind of thing. I don't like this. You cannot do this to me. So it has to be a no. It has to be very assertive. And then we also have to teach young girls about negotiation skills on how to manage conflict situations. This all we have to really teach them. So unless we teach them, really we cannot empower the girls. And they have to understand what is power and gender relationship. How does gender-based violence occur? Gender-based violence occurs because of this power, totally power. Power relationship is the main cause for gender relationship. And decision making and evaluating future consequences of present action for self and others. So whether girls are falling in love or taking wrong decision, or boys are taking the wrong decision, unless they know what are the consequences of it, they cannot really take a good decision. So we have to give them information, knowledge and attitude so that their behavior become, they know what will be the consequences of their behavior. So problem solving skill and identifying alternate solution, analyzing relevant information, attitude, social norms, beliefs, and peer and media influences. This social norm is the biggest culprit. Like gender relationship, you have to talk about social norms also. What are people? So no, it is our social norm. It is our belief. You have to do that. So it is most of the social norms are against women. So when we are talking about gender, we have to talk about our social norms also. And women have to be taught about their women and men, boys, they have to taught about their rights as well as their responsibilities also. And we have to talk to girls about safe spaces and how to access community services, economic empowerment. So what is coping and self-management skill is increasing internal self-control. So I cannot just behave the way I want to behave because I felt it so. I can't say I just wanted to feel this way. No, you have to really think about the consequences. There should be a self-control before expressing something. What am I expressing? How it is going to affect the other person? I have to really have a control over my emotion. That is self-control. And then managing our feeling, managing ourselves, stress, and then unless you have a goal in your life, really your life skills or gendering won't help you. Goal is not only for employability or for education. It is for everything. Goal is for everything. Like I have a goal to improve my health. I have a goal to improve my educational qualification. I have a goal to improve my relationship with my peers and family people. So there is a goal is not agenda. It's a goal setting is I have to visualize what am I going to be in all this. What am I going to be in 5 years in my career, in my education, as a father, as a mother, as a young elder sister. So we have to visualize that goal and then work towards it. And then resilience is one very, very, very important quality. Resilience is coming back. Whatever happens to you, there are adverse situations for everybody in life. But you can't say, no, I can't do anything. Yeah, I can do. I have to come back. Only people with optimistic attitude will come back. People with pessimistic attitude will say, no, I can't do. Resilience is very important for gendering and life skills. So So specific skills that are most important for women to acquire include saying no, refusing unwanted, unintended, or unprotected sex. It could be a relationship also. Saying yes with knowledge, general assertive skills, coping with social pressure and norms, negotiation skills, self-defense and escaping situations of any adverse situation like abuse, anything. Okay, I'm going to stop here. I'm going to present a case study in the end. It may be a kind of a homework for you. But before that, for 5 minutes, whatever you want to ask, whatever we have to share, you can share now. Neela?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Now the forum is open to participants. If you have any queries, you can get clarity.
Yes, Dr. Neela, this is Dr. Jayashree Agarwal here from the
Good
Department
afternoon,
of English of Kaveri College for Women. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon,
Ma'am, a very enlightening session, ma'am. I'm hearing you for the first time, and I can see from your experience that there is a lot of information you have provided. I'm working on all these aspects, ma'am, the different aspects which you have spoken about. The one aspect about empathy, which you had told that, sympathy is different from empathy, and you need something really extra to, cultivate it. You have to cultivate it. And when we are in a position, whether it is heading a department or heading an institution or even heading the family for that matter, we need to be more empathetic. But ma'am, how do we differentiate between being misused and being empathetic? Sometimes because of the empathy, people tend to misuse that aspect. So how do we differentiate that?
Okay, ma'am. Personally, when you know that you are, understand that you are being misused, then you have to use your logical skills. You don't have to be wrongly empathetic. It is not empathy. It is allowing yourself to be exploited. Empathy is putting ourselves in some other's position. So in some other position means we need our self-respect. So empathy does not say that you have to lose your self-respect. There is self-respect, self-esteem. So I can be empathetical to a person who also respects me as a person. So otherwise it is exploitation. It is not empathetic. You don't have to be empathetic to a person who is exploiting you.
Yes. Yes, ma'am, I understand. I think slowly by experience we will learn that where we are being exploited and where we have to use empathy.
And
as you say,
especially as women, we are exploited because of our gendering process, because of our soft nature, everything. We are being exploited. So we can't allow ourselves to be exploited by anybody.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Though they may be our children, they may be our husband, nobody has. I have my self-respect. Nobody can do anything with that.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And the gender cards were really different, very different. Even yesterday, Dr. Manimegal shared it.
I can share it as a PDF if anybody wants. You can take copies and then.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you.
Right. Yes,
ma'am. Excuse me, madam.
Yeah.
Madam, this is Dr. Jennifer from Madurai Kamaraj University. I have a query regarding balancing emotions of women. As you have been talking about gendering and all the impact of gender on acquiring life skills and all that things. One psychologist, I think Mrs. Lima Pita, had earlier said in one capacity building program, women are 6 times more sensitive than men. In that case, we are obviously more emotional. And is there any difference between handling emotions? Obviously, there must be difference, right, ma'am? So we won't be able to control or manage our emotions better than men. Is that so?
Actually, sensitivity is all the more. Sensitive means all the more you can find out that you are being exploited easily.
Okay.
Sensitivity, if you are really a sensitive and sensible person, you can really understand that.
Okay.
We are right from our childhood taught to be really submissive, like you can't do this. Because I know only to cry. People think women are taught only to cry, not to express anger. When they express anger, why potappulla ipdi undu povata angaram koodadu. Tamil they say that angaram koodadu potappulla. So they try to control your emotions all the time. So sensitivity is also you are very sensitive about your own emotions, and you cannot really allow yourself to be. I have to nurture myself. I have to nurture my SELF self. So that's more important. That is not being self-centered also. That is not selfish. That is not selfish. There is a difference.
Okay.
There is Neela.
Hello, I have a question. I'm Bharati. Can empathy be viewed from a bottom to top?
No, empathy,
From the
no
poor to
bottom to
rich.
top. Any power relationship, there cannot be empathy. That is not empathy. There is power imbalance, there cannot be empathy. Because I have to put myself in somebody's shoes means I'm equal to that person at that time. So there is no power relationship at all. If there is power relationship, there is no empathy. It is only maybe you are trying to understand the other person from his point of view. You're trying to understand. It is not that empathy.
Then why not the other way?
Yeah, you have to demand it. I said you have to be really demand to be understood. You have to demand to be understood.
Yeah.
You can't say, please understand me. This is me. You better understand me.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Hello.
Any other? Yes, ma'am.
Can I ask you a question, please, ma'am?
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah. I have been listening to you very carefully, and it was very enlightening talk. And I put up my finger from a long time.
Because I'm not controlling the keys, ma'am. Somebody else's, so I don't know.
I come from the Women's Studies Center of North Maharashtra University, Jalgaon. I'm Dr. Shobha Shinde. Okay, so my question is that being sensitive, being emotional, and men recognizing their responsibility and teaching them the responsibility, isn't all this about gender stereotyping, which we must avoid in these times and which we need to break down completely, the gender biases and the gender stereotypes?
Yeah, certainly. Right from the childhood, when you are bringing up a child, whether it is a boy or a girl, they are part of the family. So whatever role you want a woman to do, the male should also do. And we also have to set example. The father and mother have to be an example to the children. If the father is not doing anything, and if you are asking the male boy to do it, and he will, father is not doing, why am I doing? So we have to really set role model. Unless we have to try to break this chain, this gendering and stereotyping will continue in new forms. So we have to test. I strongly feel that parenting gendering process has to, like media also, but first I think if the parents are really strong enough, they can counter anything. Outside world can be countered. I have done this in my parenting program. No, my thing is that because I went through women's empowerment, gendering and life skill, whatever program I am asked, I combine all this. Even in sanitation, I say include life skill, include gender. So whatever program I try to combine all these areas because I see life as a holistic approach.
I feel that it is very tragic that women keep on thinking that they are more sensitive, they are more emotional than men. And all this mindset of women has to be changed.
They can be sensitive, they can be emotional, but doesn't mean that they can be exploited. I can be emotional. Emotion is a good feeling. I can cry, I can show my anger, but at the same time, I cannot get myself stressed because of it. I can have emotions, but the emotion has to be handled by me, and I have to become a more strong person.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Neela, how much time do we have now?
Yes, ma'am. We have another 10 minutes.
Okay, you tell me any questions are there, otherwise I can go to that example. See, I don't know whether anybody is raising hand, I don't know, only you can see.
Dr. Neha,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm reading the questions, ma'am.
someone raised question through chat box, please read.
Can I also see the question?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
In the chat box, there is one question, ma'am.
Yeah, you can read out the question because I'm switching between my mobile and my computer.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. How life skill can reduce gender bias?
That's what I was talking about all the time. Like, you have to understand if the self-awareness is there that you are being, as a gender, you are being exploited or you are being brought up in a certain manner. Self-awareness really helps you to understand the gender bias. Self-awareness is not just mean, oh, I'm a woman, I have to accept this. It is also, I'm a human being, why I'm being treated this way, that they have to understand. So then it is easy, much easier. So gender bias, to understand is self-awareness and thinking skills is very important. If
Another
you really
question.
have self-awareness, you can really understand your bias. Self-awareness
Yes,
is
ma'am.
not accepting what you are. It is also questioning all kinds of bias, caste, class, gender, all kinds of bias, so that we create a just society for everybody.
Another question, ma'am.
Yeah.
In the chat box. Ma'am, it is always said by men that everything is a matter of power. If the power is given to women to control the society and politics and economy, then the men will be suppressed and humiliated and underpaid. The story will repeat on anti-clockwise. What should be your answer?
When I say the power is, nobody should be given the power, or like it is equal. Power is not if whatever male had done as exploitation, because without their understanding that they are given the power, certainly the woman will also do that. Now we also see some people will say it is better easy to work under a male than a female. I have heard some women say this. So power is such a bad thing. Power, when you see it as a power, it is power. When you see it as a responsibility, you share it. So power is for sharing. Power is not on to control anybody. It is only for sharing with others. Even if you're working as a team leader, you share your responsibility. You tell them these are the things, these are the deliverables we have to do. And then we have to everybody has to take responsibility. If you think that you have taken the whole responsibility and try to show that, yeah, look, I have to do this kind of attitude, nothing can be done. Yeah, you have to say, no, let us all do it together. So power has to be shared. Power is not trying to boss over somebody else. Power is only sharing.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Another question asked by Shruti, ma'am. How to use life skill by women to combat gender violence at domestic level at home in COVID lockdown?
It's a big topic, ma. There is power relationship in families right now, whether it is a COVID situation or not. But it is coming out more in the COVID situation because my friends were jokingly said there is male have this working hours, male have work from home, or male have this holidays, everything. For women, there is no holiday, no going away from the kitchen. Because we have done everything wrong right from our childhood, like we have taught everything wrong. Now it is showing up in a very difficult situation. Really, parents and children are not able to spend time together qualitatively. They are not used to being together for 24 hours. They go out, come back, and maybe half an hour, 1 hour, they talk to each other, and then they are away from each other. But now they are made to be together 24 hours compulsory. They don't know how to handle it. And first, I will say, everybody is really, in the word Tamil, pavam. Everybody, I feel so sorry for everybody because we are not used to such a situation. So they have to sit and talk what can be done as a family when we can, somebody can watch television. And I think it's high time we should teach our children to design their timetable. I'm using this word design their timetable by themselves. You cannot design a timetable for them and say that do this, do that. So ask them to take responsibility, charge of their life. And once they design their timetable, they will have. So as a family, you also prepare a timetable for the family. So this is the time for doing household work, everybody together, everybody to eat together, everybody to play together, to spend time together. So unless there is a kind of a power balance inside a family, COVID situation internally and externally will do worse. It's all because of the power relationship in the family. And the expectations parents have from children and what children may have from the parent. It's all a kind of consumeristic society. Yes, ma'am?
Shall we conclude, ma'am?
Yeah, I have to just give the last few slides. It
Yes,
could be a homework kind of a thing. Okay.
Case study, ma'am.
A case study, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Everybody can, I think they will be shared with this PowerPoints, no?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We will be sharing
Okay.
it.
Okay, then I'll explain the story and then they can give their assignment. So there is a house where father, mother, Selvi and Selvi's brother, they are there. And they are now eating time, the dinner time. Father and brother, they are eating first. They have more side dish, chutney, sambar, everything. And then finally 3 dosas are left for Selvi. So Selvi at one point realizes that mother is left over only with a old food, morning food. There is only rice, there is no dosa for mother. So Selvi shares dosa with mother. She also helps mother in the household work. Then they sit together and then they eat the dosa and the rice together. So how does gendering has affected the food intake in the family? How life skills helps in understanding and breaking the gender stereotype? Finding out the gender disparity with which character used which life skill and which characters lack which skill. Because you are going to give it, I read it very fast because you are going to give it as a PowerPoint. So I want people to go through this case study and each character you have to say Selvi's father, Selvi's mother, Selvi's brother, Selvi. What are the life skills they use? What are the life skills they lack? And also, why this situation is happening? What is the gendering process? Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You are audible, ma'am.
No, somebody else's voice also audible. Okay. So you have to really, this after we introduce gender, after we introduce life skills, I generally give this case study in the training program. There are a lot of case studies. You can also think about this case study. And then you have to come out really a action plan for yourself using life skills for countering gender stereotypes. If somebody wants more on life skills, I can send you material. Finally, you can, I'll give my email ID also. I can share material, whatever material I have. I have all my training material written in Tamil. So there are other material which I can share with you, English material, but my own material are only in Tamil. So personal level, eating together, making boys and men wash their own plates, girls should be more brave and to get involved in outside home task, everything. So these are, you have to work out an action plan like this. Group level. And there are people near Tiruvannamalai and all. Together, they have made the liquor shop moved from their village to 2 kilometers away from the village. So these are all women's power. Then when they get together, they are able to do this. And parenting, marital relationship, how are you going to use your gendering knowledge and life skills? At a community level, more active participation in village level and developmental committees. So these are the things. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot for a patient listening. I hope you enjoyed
Thank you,
the
ma'am.
program. Neela, one thing, whenever I give a session, I would like to have feedback from at least 1 minute from 1 or 2 participants.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sure, ma'am.
So if anybody is willing to give their feedback, please ask.
Participants?
Ma'am. Ma'am.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Ma'am, Ashika ma'am from GBG College.
Yes, ma'am. You are audible, ma'am.
I love the session very much, ma'am. It's very interesting and very useful for us, ma'am. I like to have you in coming up sessions also, ma'am.
You are from where, ma? Tamil Nadu or from some other place?
Ma'am, Udumalpet, ma'am.
Okay, ma. If you want, you can. You can talk to me. I can give you more material. If you want to have any web program in Tamil with your college, I can do that. No problem.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma. What's your name, ma?
Ashika, ma'am.
Okay, Ashika. Okay. Neela, can you type my email ID?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Or
ma'am.
you will give it to them. You will pass it on to them. I don't
I will
mind you
send-
giving my phone number also. I don't mind
Yes,
giving
ma'am. Yes,
you.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I
So
will
any
send them through
participant,
WhatsApp group, ma'am.
Yeah, any participant, please, if I'm not picking up my phone, you can just say that BDU gender program, so and so name. I'll respond back to you. Anybody can call me, no problem. Anything else? Any more participants?
Hello, am I audible, ma'am? Hello,
Yes, ma'am. You are audible, ma'am.
ma'am. I'm from Assam, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You are audible, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. You have explained very nicely, and I have presented. Today is the 3rd day. This is very helpful and interesting webinar, ma'am. Thank you so much, and thank you to the organizers to give this knowledge about these women issues and gender bias. Thanks a lot, ma'am.
Thank you, ma. If you want, I can share with you my gender cards also. You can email it to me. No problem. You can send your email. I'll send that card to you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Am I audible, ma'am? Dr.
Yes, ma'am.
Neela?
You are audible, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You are audible, ma'am. You are audible, ma'am.
Okay. Ma'am, I'm from Darjeeling district, West Bengal. I live in Siliguri and I'm from Sudarshan Mahavidyalaya, member of Women's Studies Cell. Ma'am, this is a very helpful session. It's going on for 3 days and we have lots of information about this gender biasness and this will help us in further action plans. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma. Thank you. So, Neela,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
response we can wind up. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I hope technically it was okay, audible, everything.
Yes,
Audio
ma'am.
was,
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you
Yes,
so
ma'am.
much, Neela, for
Yes, ma'am.
organizing
Thank you, ma'am.
it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am, for your valuable inputs with regard to life skills. I take this opportunity to thank our today's resource person, A.S. Padmavati, ma'am, for her thought-provoking words about life skills. Thank you very much, ma'am, for your presence.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. At this juncture, I record my sincere thanks to all the participants for their active participation. Meet you all in the tomorrow session the same time. Thank you all.
Neela ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.